guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Paula Kramer, and today I'm going to share with you my top 5 favorite palettes for spring, old and new. So a couple of the ones that I show you are going to be a little bit newer, and a couple are going to be recycled from last spring or new to me. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is the Natasha Denona Mini Nude Palette. I picked this one up because I travel a lot for work, but I have to say, as soon as I opened it and felt it, the creaminess of these, I've only worn this a couple of times because with the coronavirus, I've not been out of the house much, but this one has very, very creamy shades. If you travel or if you just don't want to commit to a huge palette, I highly recommend this one because it's priced really well, and even though it's a mini palette, I feel like it's definitely big enough to last for an entire season and then some. So Natasha Denona Mini Nude Palette. Another one that I picked up that I'm really loving is by e.l.f., which is a super, I think this palette was 12 bucks, but this one is Mad for Matte eyeshadow palette. I just got it, I picked it up at CVS. I love an all matte shadow palette for every day, and these colors are beautiful. It also has a black in it and all of these beautiful neutrals. I mean, I am loving this palette. I like this palette better than a lot of the more pricey palettes that I have. So I would definitely encourage you to play around with e.l.f. I also got one of those little $3 palettes. It broke the first time I traveled with it. And the other e.l.f. palette that I traveled with, which was the one with more shimmery shades, a couple of those shades broke as well when I traveled with it. So I'm not gonna be traveling with these anymore because I don't feel that they hold up well to travel. But I would definitely say for at-home use, you should really check out these e.l.f. palettes. They probably have a little bit more dust fallout than the Natasha Denona that I just showed you, but for the price, I think it's $12 or something, you definitely can't beat that. Another palette I've been reaching for a ton lately that everybody's been talking about is the Pillow Talk palette by Charlotte Tilbury. This is a near perfect palette. There's a couple of issues I have with it. One is this red set makes me look a little bit like I have pink eye with the wrong outfit. So with blue eyes, this red look doesn't look as good to me as if you have brown eyes. I think brown eyes and darker eyes look better with the red eye. But the day I wore it, I was like, well, it is pretty. It definitely brings out your eyes. The other thing is this palette is missing a black, and I think every palette should have an extremely dark color for lining and just for purposes of making it deeper if you want it deeper. So all of these are kind of more everyday shades. I would have liked to have seen maybe something a little bit deeper than this, but not quite so red, or even a black would have been ideal. But overall, the quality of these eyeshadows, the creaminess, how easy they are to blend, and the fact that you have multiple color families in one palette and how thin it is perfect for travel, and it's perfect to stash. It's an easy one to stash. It's not bulky and thick or way too big. I'm just loving these Charlotte Tilbury palettes. Which is why, transition into my next one, I picked up this new palette by Charlotte Tilbury for spring, and this one is the Super Blue palette. And I wore the Super Blue palette yesterday with the matching Super Blue eyeliner. This one is a metallic blue on one end and a navy on the other. And then this one has like a champagne-y kind of highlight color. This one's a brown all over, and then a metallic blue and a navy blue. And wow, when I put it on, I just was like, gosh, I haven't worn blue eyeshadow since probably a really long time. I have neutral everything, and I really don't step out of the box that much because I know what I like. But this one, I dared myself because I just was in the mood to try some blues. So this was a palette that I really, really wanted to try, and I have to say I'm very impressed with it. The only drawback to this palette is that I don't wear as much of the metallic blue, so I don't think I'm gonna get as much usage out of it, but I am gonna keep playing with it. It's out of the box for me, and the quality of these shadows are really, really nice. And then last but not least, the shadows that I'm wearing today are from an older palette. I think this was launched last spring by Marc Jacobs. And if you haven't tried any of the Marc Jacobs eyeshadows, you definitely should, because they're very creamy. And I actually like that they're a little bit smaller, because I never use a whole pan of eyeshadow anyway, but these colors for spring are beautiful. This has more sort of pinky, corally kind of tones in it, but this shade here and this shade here and this shade here, I'm living for these. And this super dark shade was great to line with. That's all I'm wearing on my eyes. I'm not wearing any eyeliner, just this dark shade as my, you know, my little wing or whatever you want to call it. So today I'm wearing this one, and this one, and that is it, just those three. So there you have it, my top 5 picks for spring palettes. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you're picking up for spring. What collections did you love? What drew your eye? That's it for now. I just wanted to share what my top 5 picks were. And if you have any questions, feel free, comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer it. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Take care.